Payton Pritchard has obviously secured himself as the Boston Celtics X Factor so far this season through the first 20 games. So we're going to break down Payton Pritchard's success and what this is going to look like moving forward for a guy that's technically not a starter right now, but is putting up numbers any average starter in the NBA would. I'm your host, Allie Barefoot of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. If you love Payton Pritchard the way that I love Payton Pritchard, and that's the fact that I am so glad he is on our basketball team. He's one of those players that if he played for anybody else, I would despise him. He's scrappy, he's tenacious, he's a dog, he's everything you want on your team, not your opponent. So if you guys feel the exact same way, go on ahead and hit that like button for me. Show him some love. Let's talk about the work ethic real quick of Payton Pritchard, because this, like I said, this is a guy who's putting up the numbers of a starter, but he's not getting that name call at the beginning of the game. He's not in the top 5 as they're around the center for the jump ball. Payton Pritchard comes off the bench, but he puts in the work as a starter. He puts in the work as a top player in the NBA. He's done this his entire career, but now this season, it's taking off. And yes, maybe he has the confidence as he has a nice little piece of jewelry on his fingers. The Boston Celtics just won the NBA Finals. But Pritchard is doing stuff behind the scenes that's showing on the court. And Pritchard said that, look, this is nothing new. He's done this his entire career. Any moment I had a chance to play and I was ready to play, I never had a problem with that. But it wasn't like I was playing on non-game days and prepping myself for the first moments. So I've been prepping myself for this moment for a very long time. Because we remember last year, Pritchard would come in garbage time. And it would kind of be like when you're on varsity and you're watching JV play and the JV star, he makes a huge three at the last minute of the game. It didn't really matter, but it was still cool. That was what it was like watching Payton Pritchard last year when you had the Boston Celtics starting 5 and all these all-stars. But now Pritchard, look at the level of improvement that we have seen from last year when he played every single game. But once again, it was about 11 minutes per game. Now it's 16.1 points per game, 43% from downtown, nearly 50% from the field. These are some of his best career numbers, and we are just getting started. But let's go back to where it started, right? Look at little Payton Pritchard. This is his recruiting profile when the scouts were looking at him. Class of 2016. This is high school Payton Pritchard, which, of course, he ended up going to play for Oregon. He was a starter as a freshman. He played all 4 years. And you can see, this is a kid that's not just like one of those Cinderella stories. He's been putting in the work since high school to get where he is now. And right now, he's well above the odds in Vegas to be the 6th man of the year. So I think when you look at a player like Pritchard all the way back from his high school scouting report to then watching him play for the Celtics, but it's kind of, when he's in, it means something good happened for Boston starters. But now you're kind of sitting there almost itching, being like, we can't make a 3 to save our lives. This guy's offense is killing us. We need Pritchard's defense out there. Now you're almost asking, why hasn't Pritchard gone in yet? And I just think that he's now maturing his skill set into an NBA starter. Will that be for the Boston Celtics? Well, that's up for debate. But I do think that what he is providing right now for Boston is the clear-cut X factor to help them in the playoffs, in the championship, if they end up getting back there. Because what we just saw with the Memphis Grizzlies is they really tried to attack the Boston Celtics' strongest point, which is their starting 5. And then you have Payton Pritchard come in late in the fourth quarter, fresh pair of legs, and he ties up the ball game. This is what Pritchard does. He comes in and he gets you free baskets. I know it's super fun watching Pritchard just drain a half-court shot at the buzzer, but that's 3 extra points the Celtics didn't have. His defense is allowing turnovers to give the Boston's offense the ball back. He's truly making an impact, and yes, he's just a lot of fun to watch, which also helps for us as the fan. But the reason why I say he's not a starter in Boston is because I just don't see him playing over a healthy Derek White and Drew Holiday. It could be a little bit just because of their veterans. It could be a little bit because they're both accolade winners. They're both NBA all-defensive backcourts. So when you look at Holiday and Derek White, yes, I do think Payton Pritchard can be a starter in the NBA. And if he does end up starting, I think that it's because of his skill set. And the reason why he's not starting is not because of his skill set. It's just because we have one of the most stacked rosters in the league. So Pritchard, it's no slight to him. He's great, but this starting 5, it really works around each other. Every single player in this starting 5 has been playing 82-plus games together already. They know their role. Pritchard knows his role as 6th man of the year. And we're going to break down a little bit more about another award Payton Pritchard could possibly win this year. Before we hop into that, I want to make sure you guys are making your picks on Prize Picks. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I play it every single game day, and you guys can too. All you guys have to do is just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 200 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. And this is the best time of the year, right? You got crossover season, but you also have the holidays coming up. You can make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports, including tonight. We're obviously all Celtics fans here. I'm probably not going to tune in as hard to these NBA games later because what? You got Karl-Anthony Towns, you got Mikal Bridges. But if I've got my Prize Picks on a basketball game, I'm going to be a little bit more in tune to that game than I would just any other regular season game. So I've got Cat to have more than 9.5 boards, and I've got Bridges to have less than 16.5 points. If you guys want to go on ahead and make your own picks, you can now win up to 200 times your money. All you guys have to do is download the Prize Picks app, use promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Let's talk about Pritchard compared to the rest of the NBA because you got to think. Edwards, Herro, Steph Curry, all starters. Beasley can be a starter, but he's coming off the bench in Detroit. Payton Pritchard is first in the NBA among players that have taken more than 8 threes a game in terms of three-point percentage. You can see right there, Payton Pritchard averaging about 8.6 three-point attempts a game. He's shooting 43%. This is unheard of in the NBA. You want to know how I know? Steph Curry is #4. Yeah, he takes a little bit better shots. Yeah, he takes a little bit more shots. But a stat to also blow your mind too is that if you take the top 60 players averaging at least 6 three-pointers a game, he's still the 6th best three-point percentage shooter in the league. So he's still a top 10 three-point shooter, and he's not even a starter for the NBA. Pritchard has also made 78 threes this season, which counts him as 6th in the NBA. This guy is a machine from beyond the arc. But it's not just his three-point shooting, because I've always thought of Sam Hauser to be more of the three-point king when it comes to that type of category. I think Pritchard has now developed his game to be a phenomenal two-way guard and a very good three-level scorer. Because you know that Pritchard, when he comes in, he tries to be that floor general. And I also noticed him as a floor general, more so towards the fourth quarter when Jrue Holiday was out for several games with that injury. Pritchard has converted 1 or 0 turnovers in 17 out of 21 of the games that he's played. So not only does he have one of the best three-point percentages in the league, he also is barely turning the ball over. He also knows how to drive, how to score around the post in the paint, and I do think that he is a phenomenal shot creator for the Celtics. So I think, yeah, you got an absolute steal here. He's the X factor you didn't realize that you needed. So my question here for you guys is, do you think Pritchard is the Boston Celtics X factor? If you do, go on ahead and hit that like button for me. I think all of us can agree the starting 5 is unreal. But having Pritchard and Hauser, Cornette, Nemias Queta, all these guys coming off the bench, that's what makes the Celtics so dangerous. And now I'm starting to think, 6th man of the year? Absolutely. Why not? But let's strive for something more. Can Pritchard be an all-star? We know that Derek White, who's never been an all-star before, he's also trying to get his first nominee. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're multiple time, whatever it's called. They've been an NBA all-star quite a few times in their career. Same thing as Jrue Holiday. But now I'm looking at Pritchard's numbers, and right now they're a little bit better than Holiday's in terms of offensively. Defensively, Holiday still has that number on top of him. So I really sat down and I thought, there's a lot of really good players in the NBA. And I do think there are still a few that are going to possibly be on the brink of being an all-star. For example, Joel Embiid hasn't really played a lot of games. When he does, he's not being as dominant as he has been. Now you got Pritchard, who is being dominant, but he's not a starter, so he doesn't have as many minutes played as somebody like an Anthony Edwards. There's a lot that's going to go into it, and I do think Pritchard is now maturing into becoming an all-star, whereas Derek White last year, I thought he got snubbed for not making the all-star list. This year, if he doesn't make an all-star, I'm literally going to handwrite a letter to Adam Silver saying, what are you doing? So I think that this is the beginning, but I'll take him as an all-star next year. I do think sixth man of the year, though, if he continues to play the way that he is right now, should be an absolute shoo-in. Because we know that Pritchard is only getting better. We've seen that in the last 4 seasons that he has played in Boston. And if this is what he's shooting right now, and defending right now, and ball handling right now, I'm excited to see him grow up, continue to learn with some future Hall of Famers on this team, and then I do think that possibly this time next year, we could be saying the exact same thing about Pritchard, what we're saying about White, which is if he's not an all-star, I will riot, or something like that. My last question for you guys is, do you guys think Pritchard can be an all-star this season? Type Y for yes, type N for no in the comment section down below. And as always, if you guys love our coverage, thank you so much for supporting our channel. If you haven't already, go on ahead and subscribe.